destination. Darkness is quite near your feet and senses through your ears. And tide is rising, drought is non-existent. Sins are washed away, all the faults that you were facing. Sunset chaser, where's your new location? Searching for a purpose, the truth's making you nervous. And sunlight's waiting, there's a happy ending. Picture perfect skies, does your life have any meaning? Oh darling, don't you cry no more, as the sun will soon shine 1,000 times. Don't you worry, dear, dark clouds will soon clear for you. Daylight saver till the next adventure. Love is all around, but you're focused on your frowning. Rays are burning, achy luminescence, feeling through the gloom, tense and patient for its blooming. Oh darling, don't you cry no more, as the sun will soon shine 1,000 times. Don't you worry, dear, dark clouds will soon clear for you.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this Hawaii International Film Festival presented by Holly Kalani's special panel. I'm Becky, the Executive Director here at HIFF. It is my honor to welcome you to this live broadcast panel today in partnership with ʻUluʻulu. ʻUluʻulu is the archive here in Hawaii, and we always partner with them every year at HIFF to do a really, really incredible panel. As the official state archive for moving images located on the University of Hawaii West Oahu campus, the archive is dedicated to the care, preservation, and digitization of film and videotape related to the history and culture of Hawaii. This year is no exception. We have such an incredible lineup of speakers and video clips for you all today. And to kick things off from ʻUluʻulu, I pass it to Heather Giugni, a longtime filmmaker whose passion for persevering Hawaii's story culminated in the establishment of ʻUluʻulu. We are having some trouble hearing you, Heather. I do think you might have to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just turn mine on.
One minute while we figure out some technical difficulties.
Oh. So I'm muted. Hello. Hello. Oh.
No, the host should not. Okay, how about that?
I turn my thing down.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay, we're here. Sorry.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hello. Can you come back? There she is. We're sharing
Got
this.
it.
Now,
Wonderful.
why can't I hear you? All right, here I am. I apologize.
Take it away, Heather.
Okay, aloha. My name is Heather Haunani Giugni. That's Joy Standard, Joy Chong-Stannard in the back of me. I'm the collection specialist and producer for ʻUluʻulu, longtime independent Hawaii filmmaker and moderator for today's very special occasion. Every year we partner with Hawaii International Film Festival, and it's really an honor to highlight a particular archival film or video that has been restored and accessible through our website at uluʻulu.hawaii.edu. This year, in recognition of the 100th anniversary of the Molokaʻi homesteads, we are highlighting PBS Hawaii's PAU HANA Golden Anniversary series, produced in the early 70s, that highlighted the 50th anniversary at that time. Now, the PAU HANA Years Golden Anniversary of Molokaʻi homesteading restored programs will be available to stream for free during the entire length of the festival through November 28th. And also available at our website at uluʻulu.hawaii.edu afterwards. It's my honor now to introduce to you the four panelists that will speak to the content of this program, which will include a homestead history from a lifelong Molokaʻi resident, PBS Hawaii's longstanding commitment to local programming, production styles then and now, and what it means to be an archive and how it relates particularly to this PAU HANA series. Zackery Helm is the Hawaiian Homes Commissioner for the island of Molokaʻi. A lifelong resident of that island, he has 30 years of experience working with the Department of Parks and Recreation for the County of Maui, with most of his tenure spent as the district supervisor for the Molokaʻi district. He is active in his community, serving on many boards, and I welcome him to this panel today. Thank you very much. Mahalo. Joy Chong-Stannard. Joy is also a lifelong and longtime filmmaker and an indie filmmaker who's been associated with PBS Hawaii for many, many decades. Her family's been here for generations, and she has an extensive body of work and experience in archival research of historic photographs, moving images, and historic documents that lends a visual dynamic to her portrayal of island history. She has spent much of her career as a producer director of PBS projects, as I said earlier, and she is being honored this year at the Hawaii International Film Festival's 41st year in the Real Wahine Season 3, which is available online. So please check that out. It's running now, and it's really quite fabulous. Ron Mizutani is President and Chief Executive Officer, PBS Hawaii. PBS is a nonprofit entity and the only locally owned statewide television station in Hawaii, serving the islands since 1965, and part of the PBS service, which has its focus on education. Ron is a Kauai native, and before coming to PBS earlier this year, he was a leader at the Hawaii Food Bank during the start of the pandemic. and he has been with the news previous to that for 33 years, most of that at KHUN. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ron. And as an award-winning reporter, anchor, and producer. He is also a graduate of Kamehameha Schools and the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Last but not least, my hero, Janel Quirante, head archivist of ʻUluʻulu, the Henry Kuʻualoha Giugni Moving Image Archive of Hawaii at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. It's the official state archive for moving images dedicated to the care, preservation, and digitization of film and videotape related to the history and culture of Hawaii. She is lecturer in creative media at UH West Oahu and the adjunct faculty in library and information science at UH Manoa. Janel earned her master's in library and information science from UH Manoa after receiving her BA in anthropology from the University of California at Berkeley. She worked as a videotape preservation technician at the Bay Area Video Coalition in San Francisco and as a visual materials archivist at the Hoover Institution Archives at Stanford University before joining ʻUluʻulu in 2010, which I can't believe has been that many years ago. And we were really, really happy to snatch her away from Hoover and have her brought back to Hawaii, where she belongs. I would like to now lead into a short video before we continue with the panel discussion, if that's okay with you.
Today, PAU HANA Years is again on the Friendly Isle, this time for the golden anniversary of the Hawaiian homelands on Molokaʻi. 50 years ago, the first homesteaders settled here, and one of the celebrations during the Jubilee Week, observing this island milestone, is the Ho'olalea o Nā Kapuna, to honor those of that generation, and the event is taking place on the grounds of Liliuokalani Trust Center at Kalamaʻula.
All of these kupunas and people who will be honored tonight are pioneers who have settled or are descendants of the early settlers that first came to Molokaʻi when the homestead was opened in Ho'olehua.
Thank you all for being here. Mahalo ia o ko a pauloa. And I think if we should count among the pioneers that are sitting there, probably they have their great and great-grandchildren around. Thank you for being here, pioneers. Hold your head up with dignity and be so proud you're counted among the numbers.
I love that archival footage. I love it. Zackery, I just think this is something that you could really speak to. This is your island. That's why I'm especially grateful for you being on camera for this, to tell us some stories.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. I'd be honored to share some of the past history of the Hawaiian Homes on Molokaʻi. And that was the 50th anniversary celebration, and that was probably in 1972, I believe. And then I appreciated you sending me the copy of that film to go over it, and it really brought me some very special memories, and especially the parade back in '72 in Kaunakakai town, and that we had an excellent master of ceremony, Auntie Mokihana Davis at that time. Did an excellent job in narrating and sharing about those people that came to Molokaʻi, the first settlers that arrived and did homesteading and farming on Hawaiian homes. Beautiful, beautiful places on Molokaʻi, such as Kalamaʻula, Ho'olehua, Kapa'akea, Ona'ali'i, Kamililoa. They're all part of the homestead areas on the island. But also the Ho'olalea brought me back some special and emotional memories. Saw my brother George Helm entertaining back with his group from Oahu. That really got me,
Yeah, so let's see if we can get to the videotape.
Yeah, why don't you show that? Yeah, that would be real nice.
Let's see if that works. Okay, rolling going once.
Also,
So that footage, of course, has been used. It's been pretty amazing to have that piece.
yeah, that site on the video, it was the old Queen Liliuokalani Children's Center back in that at that time. And now in that same area, there's a new complex called Kulana Oiwi, which is the areas for all of these Native Hawaiian agencies, such as Hawaiian Homestead Office, OHA, QLLC, Kamehameha School preschools, and they're all located there now. But our family lived about a mile and a half west of that area, and we grew up there. And George, I'm number 6 out of 7 child. I'm number 6, and George was number 5. So we were pretty close. But in 1972, George was simply, a college student at the at Laie, going school part time. He was also a sales rep for Hawaiian Airlines, and he was also an entertainer at the Gold Coin and Kapiolani Boulevard, and also performed at the Holiday Inn Hotel in Waikiki. At that time, George was not an activist. He was, he was kind of like the person I remembered, because I was not here during that time. I was going to college in Washington State and lived there for about 11 years. But we were so fortunate to have him perform and share his music. But that special day, it really brought me some special moments. Yeah, especially like the parade, and they had a regatta out at the wharf, and it was kind of like, wow. I don't know. I don't want to tell you how old I was at that time, but it was kind of nice during those days, So, but yeah, so.
So this is the celebration of the homestead, 100 years since the Act of 1921. What could you describe to people who aren't aware of what a commissioner is or does? Can you describe your role?
Well, as commissioners, we're a policy-making body. We do approve policies that impacts our beneficiaries. The Hawaiian Homestead Act was born in July 9th, 1921, and it really brought light to us because of our Prince Kohio, and he had this vision and fortitude to rehabilitate our Hawaiian people. So, his mission was to put the Hawaiians on the land. And as Native Hawaiians, we are so grateful for Prince Kohio, providing economic opportunities for our people, and that's pretty much it. But as a commissioner, we represent all of the beneficiaries and the people on the waiting list throughout the state of Hawaii, and it's very challenging. It's very challenging, uh, we often don't get the support that the department needs to put the people on the land. Like, we go to the ledge and request for funding year after year after year. So, I would highly recommend our beneficiaries and people on the waiting list, and even our people on the Hawaiian homelands, to go and lobby to the legislature, because actually that's where the funds come from. And if without the funds, we cannot develop our infrastructure and put the people on the land. And we want to do the best job we can, and we just don't want to turn over the land without that kind of support. So, we don't want to treat our people second class. We want to treat them first class. So we want to provide the best we can. So yeah, I mean, it's challenging because there's a lot of upset people. They're dissatisfied with some of the things that has gone on in the past. But I'm very optimistic. I look at today and the future. I'm not going to look. We learn from the past. So that's I did not asked for this position, but people in the community wanted me to sit in the position. So I thought about it, and then I said, okay, and I'll do my best, and I'll represent not only for Molokaʻi but throughout the state. So I'll do the best I can as a commissioner. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. So we get a better idea of what a commissioner does and the commitment a commissioner has with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. It's critical here in Hawaii, and also to connect that to the documentation and the celebration of those 50 years and now the 100th year, which is why we're here today. I want to now talk to somebody who actually worked on the PAU HANA series, which lasted from what year to what year, Joy?
Well, I started working on PAU HANA Years in the last 2 years of its existence. The show finished in around 1982. I was a college student starting off at PBS, not PBS, but Hawaii Public Television at that point in time in the mid-70s. And I was able to get a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to train as a director because they were trying to promote women and minorities in the business at that point in time. So I was very fortunate to not only work on the program when Bob Barker, who was the original creator of the program, and Charlotte Simmons, who was his producer on the program the last 2 years. When Bob retired, the program went over to Hawaii Public Television as the main producing entity. Before that, it was also, before public television, it was ETV, Educational Television. And the DOE was basically public television at that time, and then later it transferred to as an entity called Hawaii Public Television. So it was an incredible experience because being a young college student and realizing the importance of, you tend to, as a young person, discount the knowledge of your kupuna, right? And you realize throughout the years, these people were the treasures, the iconic treasures of our island home. And no matter what, Bob Barker was dogged in his coverage of our state, our islands, and going into the communities to showcase the senior citizens. It gave them, I sense, a sense of dignity and respect, as well as, highlighting all of the talents and, the knowledge that they had on film. During that time, I came, around the 80s at that time, film was being phased out and portable video was coming into place. So Bob and Charlotte, prior to that, went out into the field with a 16mm camera crew and shot these communities of senior citizens. And they really had to be very conservative in what they shot. They really needed to know what they needed to get, because as film was very expensive in those days, and there's no way you can record over what you shot, right? You have to just use what you have, and then you have to wait for it to get developed, and then you can show it on television. So I really admired their skills, and Bob was just a fountain of information in terms of who to get in the community. Some of these people, you know, like I said, are iconic treasures in our community, and it was just fabulous to get somebody like George Helm on camera, where I think during that time, you know, we probably just I didn't know who he was, but now I do, of course, and, you know, those kinds of things. So it's really fantastic that ʻUluʻulu is able to digitize those valuable resources and put them on the air. Not put them on the air, but to have them available for research and for public viewing. I came in, like I said, in the 1980s. The show was PAU by 1982, and it was under the direction of Nino Martin, who was the vice president of programming for culture and the arts at Hawaii Public Television. So his interest was more in sort of the entertainment arts. So he tended to feature people that were more in those fields. And we would do things in the studio and on location and use multi-camera setups. So video, you know, we could shoot a lot more at that point in time. But I really, forgive me, Nino, but I really think when Bob Barker was in charge, he really captured those precious moments of our senior citizen community. And I'm really grateful for that and learning from him, you know, what was important at that time.
Yeah, I somehow remember the 70s of really being kupuna things were funded a lot. I don't know if that was the Fosse administration but PAU HANA Years, you know, is a great series, and it lasted a long, long time.
Yeah, in fact, it was probably the most famous show on public television, because people would always say, "Oh yeah, PAU HANA Years," and I think that carried over into supporting Hawaii public television for many years, and we do have still a faithful older audience that really supports the station.
So, Ron, it sounds like that's something you might want to rise up and start again.
Actually, thank you so much for being a part of this panel. Zach, good to see you. I remember our times in Molokaʻi and Paʻina and everything else. Seeing the George sing, and then you mentioned the Gold Coin restaurant. I was a young boy, but Mama used to always come home and say they used to go watch him at Gold Coin and hear his beautiful falsetto. What an iconic treasure your brother was. And Joe, I just want to echo whatever Heather had said. Mad respect for all that you have accomplished in your career, and so grateful that I finally get to work side by side with you at PBS. You know, one of the things actually that is a part of our vision and a strategy of our PBS Hawaiʻi tomorrow is embracing yesterday and embracing the PAU HANA Years. That is such a treasure chest of storytelling that we, right now, in our responsibility is to bring that back. And that's very much a part of my plan. When we talk about PBS tomorrow is PAU HANA coming back. The issue, and thank God for ʻUluʻulu, is digitizing it, you know, and saving it, preserving it for forever, so that the next generation, not only my children, but my grandchildren can understand how important these stories were that Bob shared back in the 70s. And you'll be seeing a lot more of PAU HANA on PBS Hawaiʻi moving forward. We just got to make sure that we do our due diligence when it comes to copyright and understanding who owns the material and photos, all the things that complicate our world in storytelling today, especially with the PBS Hawaiʻi and the PBS Hawaiʻi compliance. But super excited about that being a part of our future, very much a part of our future.
Well, and Ron, you know, it's not just PAU HANA Years. I mean, PBS Hawaiʻi, as KHET in earlier years, produced so many seminal projects, series, whether they were one hour or series itself. It's just pretty incredible. And we are at the archive very grateful to have your collection there, so that it's accessible for research and and that we're able to take care of precious material.
I'm so grateful that library exists. And what I visualize, Heather, and those watching, and we talked about this in length. And I've only been at PBS for 10 years, but been obviously a fan of storytelling for all my life, though. But is that we're really trying to get in the digital space, and it is important that that's part of who we are tomorrow. So while we have all of this content, this rich content sitting in a library and an archive, and we continue to build that library thanks to ʻUluʻulu. The Library of Congress and everything else that we're trying to do right now in a real aggressive way to save our storytelling of yesterday. We want to take some of those and make them bite-sized pieces, if you will, to live on our digital platforms, and that's a very important part of our future.
Yeah, and yes, I mean, it's so exciting. I mean, it's social media and all those different platforms, it can get exhausting.
Yeah.
But we have to remember how other generations consume information. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting content to be had and to grow. There's also new programming that in this area you can grow. Can you share with us anything exciting?
Sure. Yeah. We redefined some of the things that we currently are doing, and I want to correct myself. I did say 10 years. I've been at PBS Hawaiʻi for 10 months. Of course, this last year I was with the Hawaii Food Bank. But we are trying to grow correctly and very smart, with COVID still being a part of our lives today. But we're moving forward, and moving forward, we have a very exciting program that we're going to launch. My goal is in February. We've already begun shooting it, and it's storytelling like Bob Barker did, but a little different. We're telling stories of Hawaii, and the program is going to be called Home is Here, which is very much a part of our message every day, that PBS Hawaiʻi is part of your home, and we're grateful for that. And home meaning the entire state. So storytelling from all across the state, all the islands. Our crews already have shot a couple of stories on Hawaii Island. So we're gathering our stories, and we're going to unveil it with a new program called Home is Here in January or February.
Wow, we look forward to seeing that.
It's going to be fun. Really fun.
Yeah. Well, you have a very talented crew there at PBS, so it should be. But I just wanted to, besides Joy, who's had a long history with PBS.
Where is one parking stall at PBS Hawaiʻi, by the way?
He knows I don't have a car, so I got my own stall.
If you had one, you would have a stall. Yeah.
So what was I? So I also wanted to link the fact that Waterman, which opened up the Hawaii International Film Festival, that was all about Duka Hanamoku, was pointed out by one of the staff at ʻUluʻulu, Sydney, in fact, that the PAU HANA Years did an episode of This Is Your Life,
right?
Which is the backbone, I would think I'm correct to say, of the story of the Duka Hanamoku Waterman story that I saw the other night. It's a really brilliant storytelling that was completed mostly through archival footage. And speaking of archival footage, it's a perfect time to segue to Janel, who can tell us how she's preserved PAU HANA Years so that she restored it so that we can now view it again.
Thanks, Heather. Well, the first thing I want to say, it wasn't just me that did all of the preservation work. ʻUluʻulu and our preservation process definitely is a team effort. And so I just want to acknowledge that everybody on the ʻUluʻulu crew that plays a part every day in doing the preservation and digitizing, working with researchers, providing access to all of our collections, as well as preparing footage that we can share through venues like HIFF every year. And so I'm always really thankful to be working with such a great team that we can provide all of this really amazing footage and archival films and videos and make it available for new audiences to enjoy. So PAU HANA Years, like has been mentioned before, is part of the PBS Hawaiʻi collection at ʻUluʻulu. And we've been working with PBS Hawaiʻi since, I think 2015, 2016 is when we first started preserving the collection that came from that station. And over the past couple of years, we were really fortunate to have grant funding from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs that allowed us to digitize the entire series of PAU HANA Years, which is held in the PBS Hawaiʻi collection. And it's 197 episodes. I had to take notes to make sure I had all my numbers correct, but 197 episodes of PAU HANA Years, and which started in 1966 and ran through 1982. And so that whole series of these programs at ʻUluʻulu, the original recordings are on 3/4-inch U-matic videotape and Betacam SP videotape. And for me, as an archivist, I'm always concerned about all of these obsolete technology, obsolete videotapes. And part of why our work as a moving image archive is so challenging is because these videotape formats, like nobody has the decks to play them back anymore, or it's very rare that you can find equipment that can handle the playback and digitization of these videotapes. And so really the only way that people can view the footage today is if it's been digitized and we can share it online. That's how people, that's how we can reach the greatest number of people to be able to share the footage. And we digitize at ʻUluʻulu. We also work with really great preservation labs that help us create these really high resolution digital preservation masters. Another stat, 10.5 terabytes of preservation files for PAU HANA Years that we are saving for the long term. And all of these episodes, researchers can go to our website, uluulu.hawaii.edu, and search our catalog. All of the episodes descriptions are online, as well as short clips. So, so not just the 4 episodes of PAU HANA Years related to the 50th or the golden anniversary of the Molokaʻi homesteads, but all of the rest of the 195 episodes are also available through our website, and people can preview short clips and contact us if they want to watch more. And thank you, Ron, for always being so friendly and positive when we get researcher requests, because once we put PAU HANA Years online, we were getting so much interest in that show. And I think it just shows about how the stories are timeless, even though the program was on the air, 40 years ago, it still really strikes a chord with audiences who are viewing it today. So I'm really, really grateful that we were able to work on this program and share it through HIFF.
For sure. Heather, if I could just add a comment to that. Janel, thank you so much, and thank you for your working so closely with our team. I saw a clip of Duke Duke Kahanamoku just talking about his favorite surfboard, and it was it was part of PAU HANA, and I said, dear gosh, that little clip right there would be so relevant still today. People would still be of even the young generations YZ would be interested to hear what Duke talked about as why this Aliyah board was his favorite. And I'm just so interested in preserving that history, and it's so important about preserving all of our history that has been documented, whether it be film, 3/4-inch, beta, and making them forever and preserving them forever. So this is an important topic that it costs money and it takes a lot of time, but it is going to be worth it for tomorrow and the next generation.
And that's why the archive is a kauhale of institutions, so we, not just the big television stations and HICO and Kamehameha schools and Office of Hawaiian Affairs are donors. We have their collections, but also we have people who just gave us one home tape or something. We have somebody from Molokaʻi, Mike Dooley, is that his name, Janelle? That he gave us all his VHS tapes Zach, of all of these people that he shot in the 70s. It's really beautiful. It's online and it's all in Hawaiian. And it's just really wonderful, wonderful films and videos from families, home videos, home films, 8mm, 16mm. Sometimes we find we're sent orphans from other institutions on the continent that we get to receive and be recipients of Hawaiian footage that was taken during the 40s or 50s that end up back with us as caretakers. But it takes a community to take care of this. And I'm really glad that we're all doing this together. So it also is important to know that it's all curriculum. So this is what happens to the collections. The university system takes care of it, right? Nobody has to pay for all these donors, send their precious collections over. Staff takes loving care, transfers it, digitizes it, puts it online, makes sure it's all closed caption, make sure all the back end is done. They only put a certain % online to protect it. And then when researchers sign up, they can, Janel has it streamed and that they can look at the whole content that they request. But if they want to use it for commercial purposes, they would have to go to you, Ron, for example, and say, I'd like to put this in my documentary. So that isn't on our shoulders, that would be on KGMB's shoulders, or, you know, we also have all the news stories, which are really fabulous. And the other important thing that we're trying to get to do too, that we have a huge effort we have to do, is to identify everybody. You know, our generation, the boomer generation can identify all the people that are on these tapes in the archive. But once that generation is PAU, those are unidentifiable people. And so I'm really anxious to make that happen, to turn that. And so to make it more information, more robust, so that the curriculum that goes out it's much more thorough.
Yeah, categorizing everything and making sure everything is labeled is so essential. I mean, you can have the greatest library, but if we can't tell you what is on that particular film, then it's not useless, but it's going to be tough to do the research. And you're right, we get approached. I get phone calls every day and emails every day from researchers who want a piece of this. They want to share it in their presentation. They want to be a part of their convention. But yeah, we get that every day, and it's just, you know, it's exciting because that's part of who we are. It's Hawaii.
And but that's and also when I'm talking about identifying, having Zackery, having you look at footage, for example, the footage that we sent, you actually know who those people are that are in that footage, right?
Yes, I do. And it's, you know, those pioneers and those kupunas, you know, they're no longer here, but they're, you know, I can't forget most of them. You know, but you know that they left the legacy for Molokaʻi's homesteaders. So, and you know, I just wanted to make a comment. You know, due to the pandemic, you know, we were looking forward to do the 100-year centennial celebration on Molokaʻi, but we had to cancel or postpone. Hopefully, postpone, and maybe 22, 23, maybe we could come and do the event, because you know it's important that we, you know, continue the legacy of Prince Kuhio and show our appreciation for the things that he's provided us Native Hawaiians.
Mm-hmm. This gives us an opportunity to do just that.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate it. Are there any other comments as we come to a close to this super panel?
Well, if I may say something, you know, ʻUluʻulu has been a godsend. Let me tell you, for somebody that's done this, for, you know, I'm reaching the stage of my life where I see the body of work, and I'm thinking as I approached it, what am I going to do? We have all of this footage. Who's going to take it, right? And who's going to preserve it? So ʻUluʻulu has been a godsend. You know, Janel and Heather, I'm so grateful that you're working on this, because your team is fantastic. They're so interested in the content of this material. They ask questions, you know, to make sure that everything is correct. And the problem is that they test my memory, and it's not always that great. But it really, I feel now that, at least the work has been preserved for a lot of the filmmakers in this community. And I'm forever thankful for what you have done and what you're going to be doing in the future, because I know it's a long road ahead. We have a lot of material that still needs to be digitized. It's expensive, but as we mentioned earlier, it's worth it because we can't lose this legacy, this moving image legacy. Thank you to all of you for supporting this effort.
Yeah, it's been, Becky's going to come on before we end, but yeah, the staff is fabulous at ʻUluʻulu. We love the staff. The staff is loved by everyone. They take every frame and lovingly care for it. And they're great champions of donors, but they also protect researchers as well. So they have a little dual life going on. But please, everybody who's watching, uluʻulu.hawaii.edu. I think, and again, I really appreciate everybody's coming on. And I think that Becky is going to be coming on in any minute. And
I did want to say one thing. Thank you, Joy, for all of your kind words. And it's true. ʻUluʻulu staff loves the work that we do, and we love watching the footage, and we love, being able to share everything, being able to share all of the footage that we have in our collections. And thanks, Koa, for that comment. That yes, Office of Hawaiian Affairs was very generous, and we did work with a grant from OHA to be able to preserve and digitize all of the PAU HANA Years episodes. But the one thing I wanted to say is that without filmmakers, without producers, without you guys, who created this content in the first place and saved it all these years, there would be no archive. So I am always going to be grateful to Hawaii's filmmakers, Hawaii's television stations, and the people who shared their memories and their thoughts on all of the footage that is in our collection.
Yeah, one more comment, Heather. Can I say something?
yes, of course.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'd just like to thank ʻUluʻulu and PBS, Ron, Janel, Joy, and yourself for this wonderful panel discussion. But also I just wanted to point out these films are very valuable to our younger generations, and we can provide that somehow to educate our OPO, and because there's been a lot of important meanings for these films in the past to brighten up our future for our younger generations. So I think they really need that. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you, everybody.
True that. Okay.
Thank
Hey,
you all
Becky.
so much. Hi, you guys. I just want to say how absolutely incredible this panel was, and we're so grateful at HIFF that we can continue to partner with ʻUluʻulu every year for really remarkable content. Thank you, Zackery, Ron, Janel, Joy, Heather. We really appreciate all that you bring to Hawaii and the community and to HIFF. Thank you for bearing with us with all of this new technology. I think, and our audiences too, for joining us. This will be available at the HIFF website, so tell your friends if they missed it to come check it out, and go to the ʻUluʻulu archive to support and learn more about the homesteaders and all of the amazing footage they have there. We are doing a series of panels live like this throughout the next month. And with the COVID pandemic, everyone learned technology really quickly, which I think just speaks further to all of the many new exciting ways that so much of the work at ʻUluʻulu can be disseminated into the world. So congratulations to you all for all the really important work that you're doing, and thank you for joining us at HIFF.
Mahalo.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Aloha. Bye, everybody. Mahalo.